Ciao Bellezza! It's been a while. I know I've been really busy working, but I just want to continue doing this because I have so many recipes I need to get through for you to know. Today we're making pizza! Woo! So I want to show you the ingredients that I use when I make pizza. Is this the only way to make pizza? Of course not. There's so many variations, but this is the way I do it. So I want to show you what we use. I use this 00 pizza flour. It's the best flour for pizza. The best. This is what you want to use. Then I use basil, of course, salt, yeast, olive oil, cold water. So I'm going to tell you, I use about 2¼ cups of ice cold water. I know, most people use warm, but you want ice cold water for this. And I use about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of salt, and about 2 teaspoons and a quarter of yeast. You know that this is what I love to use for pizza sauce is the Rega San Marzano tomatoes. And I do not cook my tomatoes to make pizza, just so you know, okay? So this is what we have. Of course, you can put any toppings you want on pizza, but before we even think about putting toppings, we have to actually make the dough and let it rise for a few hours to enjoy this fabulous dish. So why don't we begin doing that? So what you're going to need is you're going to need about 5 cups of the Neapolitan 00 pizza flour. I put in 4 already, and I'm just going to put my last cup in. Now I really mash it down and then smooth it out with a knife. Whoops. Put in the yeast. That's really important to put it all in there. The salt. And just first mix the dry ingredients. While that is going, I'll start adding a little bit of the water. I'm going to start adding the oil before I put the remainder of the water. And here I'm going to put the remainder of the water. We're going to knead it for just a few seconds, and then I'm going to put in a bowl for it to rise. Let me show you how I do that. So I lay out some flour, and I will put the dough in. You want to do this until it's not sticky. So it doesn't take very long for that to happen. You're going to mix in all the flour, just like this. And when you start making pizza enough, you're going to start getting the hang of how it should feel in your hands. And that's when you know it's done kneading. Now the cold water is very important because it'll give a different consistency to the dough. You can try with warm, try with cold, ice cold I say, and let me know what you think. Metal bowl, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil inside. So I'm going to put that on the bottom. Then we're going to put olive oil on the top, and the reason why we do this is because while it rises, we don't want it to form a hard crust on the outside part here. We want it to stay nice and moist. And make sure you get it all in and around. There. So you can put like a plastic saran wrap on. The reason why I do that is because I'm going to cover it with a tablecloth so that it can rise, nicely and the temperature won't fluctuate on the inside. And then I'll put something like this over it. So once we cover this up, you're going to let it rise and sit for 2 hours. When the 2 hours are done, knead it again and then put them into 3 dough balls or 3 balls of dough and let that rise for 30 minutes. When that is finished, let me show you what it's going to look like because I made some in advance so that we can see. So what I've done here is I put them into 3 separate little pizzas, if you will. And we're going to get this pizza ready. Put some flour down on your counter. and take one out. Oh, it's so wonderful, so light and fluffy. Now, you know me, I'm not very fancy. I'm not very into flipping things and throwing them around. I don't have a lot of room in this kitchen. And quite frankly, I'm not that talented. So we're not going to do it that way. Nonna used to always go like this and flap it around to make it open itself up. Here's another little tidbit. You should heat up your oven at 550 degrees. It needs to be very hot, very warm. And I leave the pizza stone in the oven so it's nice and hot when I put it on the stone. Now I'm going to use a roller just so that I can make it go out just a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. And I know all of you that can make amazing pizza are probably just like, oh, blasphemy. But let me show you how before I finish this, let me show you what I do with my toppings. I use San Marzano tomatoes. I just get my hands in here and I just crush them. I don't cook them. I put the sauce just like this on the pizza dough. It gives this amazing flavor by doing that. Now, some people love to cook it first and put, seasonings and things of that nature. The only thing I will put in this sauce is going to be salt, pepper, oregano, and some basil leaves. That's it. That's all it's going to need. Because between the tasty dough and the cheese and the toppings that you have on it, it's going to be an amazing flavor. Okay, so I have chopped fresh basil. I'm going to put it in the sauce. Oh, if you could smell that, it smells wonderful. Put some oregano. How much salt? Maybe try a teaspoon of salt and just mix it together, mix it around. Mix it just like this. It smells wonderful. Let's start putting the toppings on our pizza. Now, I haven't put any type of semolina or cornmeal on this at all because the pizza stone is so hot. It really doesn't need it. It will not stick. It actually will come off very easily. And so what I do here is I take advantage of this and I start forming it. And you can see it's cooking on this slowly. So I will put sauce. I try not to put too much. Going around. There we go. We don't want it to be watery, so we just want just enough to give it some of the saucy flavor. There. And the next thing I put in are some of these ingredients right here. You're going to notice I have sweet pepper, onions, some salami. We have some pecorino romano and parmigiano reggiano. And then I have some provola or provolone. And then here we have mozzarella, fontina mixed together. But the first thing I put is always parmigiano reggiano with pecorino. Of course, you can put other things like prosciutto if you wanted to. You can put anything you want, any topping you like. Make it your own. And now I'm going to put in the mozzarella and fontina that's been shredded very finely. And this is the provolone, shredded provolone on top. Next, I feel that every pizza should have onions. Now, if you don't like onions, don't put them on there. But onions with this sauce have this unique flavor. I can't explain it, but it is delicious. I put a lot of onions. I love onions. But we'll continue. I'll put some sweet peppers on it. And then, your dad likes his pepperoni, so we're going to put that on. And this is actually Genoa salami. Now you can either brush olive oil on the side to make it extra crispy. I personally don't like it that way, so I'm not going to do it on this one, but you could try it. Try it with and try it without, and let me know what you think. And in it goes, and then I will switch them around. I'm going to make another one while the other one is in there, but typically I'll leave it in there about 12 to 15 minutes. It's really your preference on doneness. If you want it well done, leave it in a little longer. If you want it less, then a little less. When it is ready to come out, I'll show you what it looks like. We'll be back in a second. So as you notice, I switched them from the one that's on top now was on the bottom, but I switched it up so that maybe you can get a little crispier on the top and put the fresh one on the bottom so that it can get to the bottom. And we'll see how it looks in a few minutes. And here it is. Look at how wonderful that looks. You see? It's nice and crispy here, but in the middle it's going to be nice and just perfect. Hear that crunch? See, I didn't put any type of semolina on the bottom so it wouldn't stick. It's not sticking at all. And the reason why it's not sticky is because the pizza stone is super hot when I put the dough on it. So it didn't have a chance really to get sticky. Let's put it on a plate and let's try one. It's going to be crispy but yet tasty. Let's do that. Mm. Mm. The dough tastes amazing. The sauce with the cheese, the onions, the sweet peppers, all together, wonderful combination. I hope you get to do this. It's super easy to do, and it's so delicious and so healthy because you know what you put in it. So this is for you, Bellezza. Another one checked off. We're going to continue. I'm going to do as many recipes as I can before you graduate because this is my gift to you. I love you. Arrivederci, bella. Buon appetito. Mwah. Ciao, Bellezza.